Alright everyone, welcome to a StarCraft 2 cast slash replay analysis. My name is Zennith. I am a member of Team Sentinel Gaming. I'm actually the competitive team manager. I also cast, I also play. I am a 1300 point Masters Zerg player on the North American server, and this is a replay from just a few days ago, playing on my alternate account slash my original account of Zennith. So, this is a ZvZ on Daybreak, which is a really fun map. This map's been around for a pretty long time. If you don't know it, you probably haven't played much StarCraft. This map is pretty popular, I must say. I still think it's one of the best maps in the map pool. For a long time I wasn't actually able to play on it because I had a computer that was just terrible. And on that computer I really wasn't able to play any map that might give me any sort of semblance of lag. My FPS on this map was something along the lines of 10, maybe 5. But I got a new graphics card and everything's great. So let's go into the game. I sped up just a little bit just while I did that introduction. If we take a look, we'll see that both players went for fast expands. TwoDrunk, who is down here in the bottom left corner, went for a hatchery first build. He went for a hatchery first build, followed by a spawning pool, followed by that gas. Whereas my name is Zennith, up here in the top right, went for my spawning pool first at 15 supply and a 16 hatchery, followed by a queen and then my gas at 18. So a couple different openings, nothing too crazy, both relatively standard. At the end of the day, the economy is pretty similar from both of those builds. The hatchery first obviously gets a faster hatchery, gets the faster creep spread, and you get the extra larva from that hatchery. However, with the fool first sort of build, you get your queen out a little bit faster, and so you end up getting that extra inject that the hatchery first build does not get. And because of that, the two builds end up being pretty even in terms of economy. And if you take a look, indeed, we are exactly identical right now as this game moves along. We see from TwoDrunk, we see a baneling's nest coming down in his main base, and that baneling's nest in the main, as opposed to out here at the natural, like a lot of Zerg players are tending to do these days, implies that he's going to try to be pretty aggressive with his baneling's nest, with his banelings. Most players will make a spine crawler at their natural and put a baneling's nest in front of it just to help with the surface area, but no, we see no spine crawler, we see no baneling's nest down here at the natural, and because of that, we can guess that TwoDrunk is going to be pretty aggressive in this game, or at least in the early portions of this game. At the moment, he's still just droning up, as am I Zennith up here in the top right. For me, playing pretty standard. Again, here's that baneling's nest in front of that spine crawler. We'll eventually put an evolution chamber right here, make it a little bit harder for run bys, but for the most part, just making drones, only mining off of one gas at the moment. He is currently mining off of he is mining off of one gas and started his second gas at the 6-minute mark. We'll probably see a pretty fast third base from me. It tends to be something that I like to do and go for that fast third base because I find it in ZvZ you can pretty much hold it. If you make a round of lings, you can hold a third base relatively quickly, relatively easily. It's not impossible to do. In the current metagame of ZvZ, kind of leads itself towards getting a fast third base and a fast lair. And we're seeing out of TwoDrunk no lair tech as of yet. In fact, if we take a look at the production tab, we see 16 Zerglings in production. We see 16 Zerglings in production, mining off of 2 gases. We can guess from this we're going to see some sort of ling-bling aggression. And if we take a look, yep, here they start coming across the map, and this is the first that I know of it. This Overlord spots these lings making their way out. But also, I have a number of lings out as well. Again, he has 16 more in production, but at the moment, we're pretty tied. These two armies are pretty similar in size, making a baneling for defense. So this is going to get pretty hairy here. He's definitely trying to snipe this third base. A little bit of aggression right here, a little bit of engagement. Only one Zergling did fall, 2 more banelings being morphed in, and a whole bunch, 4 banelings being morphed in back here. So he's going to try to morph in these banelings, run in. These Zerglings, gotta help, watch out, here comes a baneling. Nice micro from both sides. This is baneling, gets a couple of chances, almost gets a hit off, but no, pulling off 2 Zerglings very nicely here, snipes that baneling. But a good baneling hit right there for me. And I have to, though, pull away because there come 4 more banelings from TwoDrunk. He is definitely trying to snipe this hatch. And I do not cancel. Oof, 1 big baneling hit and several big baneling hits right there for TwoDrunk. Put him in a really good position to snipe this hatchery. These 2 banelings, oof, but wasting them on building banelings. It actually takes 3 banelings to destroy building banelings. So that was actually a little bit of a waste right there. Those 2 banelings could have done a lot more damage. And as it is, these Zerglings have to run back. But if we look up at the watchtower, he has a whole big host. And wow, he is currently morphing in 12 banelings on on that Zelnaga tower, so he's going to try to put on even more aggression. He is really gunning for this hatchery, and his lair is almost complete. So he'll probably start trying to take up behind this, probably take a third base relatively shortly, but this aggression is just meant to keep me completely off guard and not let me drone up, not let me tech, not let me do anything but try to defend. And ideally for him, he'll end up sniping this third base. So many banelings. 2 banelings, though, take out a good number over here. I'm just doing a little bit of run by with these Zerglings. Where are they going to head? Here's a nice run by from TwoDrunk. He's going to come over here. And what he did right there is hold position to make sure that he's doing as much damage to these drones as possible. If you just A-move, they'll attack things that are attacking them as opposed to the drones. So if you hold position right there in a mineral line, they'll just kill everything that runs by them, which will be those drones. A lot of lings coming back. Roaches have now popped out for Zennith, for me, and these roaches are going to be able to clean up these Zerglings pretty quickly, but we have more banelings making their way into the natural base. There's nothing here, and there are a big baneling hits. Oh my goodness, 12 workers killed there by 4 banelings. A really nice hit, and that was a sort of money baneling hit that TwoDrunk has been going for with all of this baneling aggression. We see him now taking his third base and his macro hatchery. He is up to a lair, but we have not yet seen any tech out of him, and still operating off of only 2 gases. Zennith and I've now taken all 4 gases at my main and at my natural, although not being able to mine from them right now because lost so many drones to those baneling hits. And now just defending with Roachling against his continued bling aggression. I do think at this point TwoDrunk just overcommits just a little bit. He did a lot of damage with that attack. He basically effectively kept me from droning up, droned up himself, did a lot of damage, killed a lot of workers. But because he keeps making lings, at the end of the day, the drone counts after all of that aggression, after 12 worker kills, is identical. 38. Well, now he actually has had a round finish, so they were pretty identical for a pretty long time, and now both players have a lot of drones coming in. An infestation pit has gone down for Zennith, which will be done just shortly here, starting that roach speed, and it looks like we're going to see a pretty standard build out of Zennith. We're going to see that roach infestor sort of play, which is just so standard in the matchup. Really, Roach Infestor is the bread and butter of any Zerg in Zerg versus Zerg. Mutaplay does exist, certainly, but it doesn't look like we're going to see any of that in this game. We do see Roach Speed coming down for TwoDrunk as well, and he's working off of 2 evolution chambers as opposed to the 1 evolution chamber of Zennith. Zennith does have +1 finished, but he does need to start that +2 on that attack. He's kind of wasting his time right now. Definitely wasting some time right here. And I'm saying he, but that's me. I was wasting my time. I forgot my +2 for a little bit here, and that's definitely not a good thing to do. You never want to forget those upgrades, especially when your opponent is working off of 2 evolution chambers and you are working off of just 1. So if we take a look right now, both players just making some units, continuing to make drones wherever they feel like they can. If we take a look at the units tab, though, TwoDrunk just does have a lot more stuff. Has more Zerglings, has fewer roaches, but has a lot more drones, and in production has 14 roaches. So right now TwoDrunk has a pretty solid advantage in this game. All that little aggression in that early game just did a lot of it did a lot of damage without doing a lot of damage. It killed 12 workers, which is great for him. But the real damage was in the preventing of droning up and the preventing of teching, and just forcing me to play completely defensively, completely reactively, and not allowing me to play the game as I would have liked to play it. Personally, I prefer to be on the other side of the map. I prefer to be the aggressive player, but TwoDrunk's aggression forced me to stay back at home and defend myself. And because of that, he was able to drone up behind it, take his third, get his macro hatch, which I have not even started yet, and he's put himself in a pretty good position in this game. Taking a look at the units tab, we have evened up in the drone count, and armies are starting to look pretty similar as well. The question is, I do have faster infestors out, so will that make a difference? We'll find out. Infestors are just really super strong in every matchup. We all know this. Infestors are really, really... Well, I could say really about 100 more times, because that is how useful infestors are, and having a high infestor count in ZvZ is just crucial for the big engagements that do come about, those sort of acid spitting contests to see who can do the most damage to those fungals, and more importantly, honestly, in this matchup, I think infested Terrans just are so valuable in any sort of matchup like that. Both players still only on 3 bases. Neither has yet started to take a third. There's a macro hatch out of me. Again, very late macro hatch. That macro hatch should have gone down about 2 or 3 minutes ago. And so my production has just slowed just a little bit. The production for TwoDrunk has just been a little bit accelerated as compared to mine. And his upgrades are just, they're at least on par right now, and they're going to catch up very shortly. I'm finishing +2 right now, and then I'll be starting +1 carapace. I probably should have thrown down, as soon as that +1 was finished, I probably should have thrown down a second evolution chamber and started upgrading 2 at a time. But as it is, I did not do that, and suddenly the supply is just heavily favoring TwoDrunk. His macro has just been out of control. That macro hatchery has just been helping him so much, keeping his money down, having a strong income, strong economy, and really his army is just very strong right now. Again, his infestor count is a lot smaller. There are 9 infestors out on the map for me versus the 19 roaches versus the 40 roaches and no infestors. So that's where the really big difference is in supply. Roaches are very supply inefficient. They're cost efficient, but very supply inefficient. So right now, even though my supply is a lot lower than his, our armies are relatively similar in terms of pure strength. Obviously, he has more roaches, but infestors, they can do a lot of damage. And both players start to take a 4th base at roughly the same time. TwoDrunks is just a little bit ahead of mine, but these lings are meant to snipe that hatchery, and we'll see if they manage it. His army is a little bit out of position, completely down here, not spread out at all, and his overlord spread was a little bit mediocre, so he didn't see those lings until they're making their way all the way up, and they are almost certainly going to snipe that hatchery. Bringing up these units, they might actually cut off the ling's escape, but that hatchery does get sniped, forced to be cancelled, and forced to be restarted. Just delaying that hatchery, very annoying for TwoDrunk, and these lings are going to make it back home. Lings are really good in ZvZ. They just are. Even in the late game, you can get run-bys, you can do a lot of damage. But TwoDrunk looks like he has had enough, and he was going to push his way across the map, but no, actually, he just pulls back. He scouted what I had. I have 12 infestors on the map versus only 6 of his. And 12 infestors, man. 12 infestors can fungal for just about ever. And they can also make basically an infinite number of infested terrain. So it's really hard to engage an army that's so infestor heavy when you don't have that many infestors of your own. So particularly with the production tab, we only see infestors being produced right now by TwoDrunk. Some nice baneling hits there. Very smart to lead with those banelings when he knows that I had so many zerglings in my army. And it looks like we're about to see a big engagement. 2 massive fungals go down. Really bad, and actually I only threw down maybe 1 fungal here, and the infested terrans just start flying, and at first this engagement just looks to be favoring TwoDrunk so heavily. So many roaches are being targeted down, but at the end of the day, the infested terrans are very strong, and either TwoDrunk has to choose focus down those infested terrans or float the roaches and let the infested terran finish, and when those terran finish, they just do so much damage. And so really that engagement ended up being a wash for both players. Supplies are relatively equal. Both players have started Hydralisk production as well. But these roaches actually run up. Are they going to snipe this hatchery? They make their way in, and yes, that hatchery does go down. So a really nice win, actually, even though that engagement ended up being pretty equal. Just the way it shook out, I was able to run up, snipe that hatchery, and escape with the majority of the roaches. A couple of them do fall, but the vast bulk of them do make their way back to my main base. So again, things that actually pretty even. It's pretty crazy back and forth game right now. So much early game aggression, and now things are just pretty much even. Again, I'm on a 4th base, but not really mining from it. Incomes are almost identical, a little bit favoring me, but not by a whole bunch. And both players are starting their hives at almost identical times as well. So here we see a big push coming out of TwoDrunk. He's decided, again, I don't want to be fighting on my side of the map. I want to make you fight on your side of the map. I should have actually gotten a really good concave here, but no, I pulled back for reasons I really couldn't tell you. If I had made a nice concave right here, I could have absolutely destroyed his army. But as it is, he has a really nice concave. All of his units are firing, and infested terrans are just flying on both sides. It's really hard. It's really hard to commentate. I don't know who's winning in this fight at the moment, but actually, it does look like I will be able to come out superior. Just the superior Hydra numbers. Roaches tanking just enough for those Hydra's DPS to really come into play there. And if you take a look at the units lost tab, TwoDrunk has lost a bit more than I have, although it's not conclusive, just a little bit more, and he double expanded as well. So soon his economy will be back into good shape, almost completely mined out at his main, mining out his natural very shortly. So he's going to want to transfer drones over to both his 4th and his 5th. I'm still only on 4 bases, have not even started to take a 5th base yet, but again, it's not too bad of a thing for me. I haven't needed to take that 5th, and both players now are making spires. At least I'm making a spire right now. I don't know. He starts a spire at some point here in this game, but has not started it yet. It'll be underway at any moment. Didn't mean to hit speed. So both players are still maxed. It's ZvZ. Both players have their side of the map. Neither really feels comfortable right now pushing out. Upgrades are currently favoring TwoDrunk by just a little bit. Although +3 has now been started for me, and he has started just +3/+3. So soon the upgrades are going to be really favoring TwoDrunk in any engagement, and that's going to be really bad. Even if I have superior numbers of Hydralisks, even if I have superior fungals, that upgrade advantage can really just swing the tide of any match, any fight in ZvZ. a couple of hydras here, sniping some overlords. Very cute. Getting some, again, basically what he's trying to do is just stop my map vision, not let me know when he's pushing out, and that's something that I really didn't feel comfortable about. You always in ZvZ want to have that map vision. It's so essential. And so when you get denied that map vision, you have to be really careful because your opponent could be doing anything and you really don't know. And in ZvZ more than in any other matchup, at least as a Zerg player in any other matchup, you need to be prepared for your opponent's army movements. If you don't know where he is, you can't properly fight it, and it's a match where you're also very used to seeing where your opponent is. As it is, these Lings make a nice little run by here, and I believe they sniped this base. They actually this pack of Lings, if I recall correctly, that pack does a shit ton of damage, like an absolutely ridiculous amount of damage. But it looks like we're going to have a massive engagement up here at the top of the ramp. His army gets into position just a little bit faster. His infested Terrans go down just a little bit earlier. Some big fumbles, and this this battle is just not going well for me right now. My infestors just did not do enough damage, did not get the great fungals, never really got in position to do it as well. And while my hydras are doing work and the upgrades have not yet come into favor for him, I do end up falling behind in that battle. If we take a look at the production tab, there are 30 roaches in production for me and 7 corruptors to the 25 roaches of him, and his Greater Spire is on the way. My Greater Spire has not yet been started. Definitely an oversight. Definitely meant to start that Greater Spire as soon as that spire finished, but no, I did not. And so this is definitely a problem. These Lings, like I said, just did a ton of damage. They cleared out 15 more workers and sniped a hatchery. Just so much damage right there. So definitely a nice little run by for TwoDrunk, and he's just in a really great position. He's maxed at 200 supply to the 139 supply of me, and things are just not looking good. And, you know, ZvZ is one match. Mirror matchups in general are matches where you can make comebacks, but it's really difficult. It's really difficult to make comebacks because you both have the same kind of units, and it just takes really outplaying your opponent. Not even necessarily outplaying, but getting a little bit lucky, to be honest, to be really efficient in terms of making comebacks. It's just a really tough thing to do. So he's decided he's maxed 200. He's going to make his way across the map and just absolutely destroy my base. And if I tried to fight this army with my army, if I tried to fight this army with this number of roaches and this number of infestors, it just wouldn't have worked at all. And taking a look at the production tab, I was way down in supply. My army supply is just staggeringly low, and this army would just absolutely run through everything. So it's time for a base trade. All these roaches making their way up into the top left of the map, sniping a hatchery right here while we see a bunch of infested Terrans being thrown down in the main base of TwoDrunk. They're going to focus down, well, nothing I guess in particular, but everything is going to go down nonetheless. That is just too many infested Terrans for any of these structures to last. The Baneling's Nest might survive, but this hive is going to fall. Another base is going to fall as well, and we see TwoDrunk is now just running into the third base of me, while I'm just destroying his third base as well. So we do have ourselves a good old-fashioned base race. In ZvZ, these can get a little bit bizarre at times, absolutely true. And one thing I gotta say is that he was not necessarily effectively using his army. His army could have just absolutely rolled through this in seconds, but instead he's letting about half of it just chill, not do anything. And it is because he was microing back here. He has 3 broodlords that are just focusing down all of my roaches, and these roaches, they just cannot shoot up. They can't shoot up. They cannot do any damage to those broodlords, so eventually they will all fall. But a lot of these buildings are going to go down before that occurs. In fact, these roaches are just going to run away, seeing that there's a trail of drones to this base. Roaches make their way over. Will they focus down the hatchery in time? Yes, they do. They're going to focus down that hatchery, whereas TwoDrunk is trying to make it run into the main base of Zennith, of me. But I have broodlords as well, and I have broodlords that are making it really difficult for his army to engage right there. Broodlord, infestor, really great defense right here, so he can't come in while I've sniped every single one of his hatcheries. He only has a few bases left, and he only has enough money for a single hatchery to go down. Just using these roaches to try to take off every base I can, while he's going to try to push the front. But his army is strong. His army is obviously way stronger than mine, to be sure. But right now, he just can't push that front. These broodlords are just able to siege up this area. With corruptors to fight the broodlords that he has, and a couple of infestors, it's going to be really tough for him to break this. And so while he has the advantage in terms of supply, has the advantage in terms of just everything, really has a bigger drone count, he has no base, which he needs to start any second now. In fact, I'm pretty sure he does, because these buildings are about to go down, and he has not yet started his hatchery. And there it goes. So he has this hatchery. This is his base. These are his drones. This is his army. A lot of roaches right here, taking out the infestation pit, taking out the hydros den, the evolution chamber is about to die on its own, and a nice burrow there. And he doesn't have, I don't believe even in this game at all, he doesn't have any detection other than these infestors. And so he puts some nice fungals down, does focus down some of these roaches, but a couple will survive. A couple of roaches do make it through unfungled. And we do have, of course, these 5 infestors. And with no detection, these infestors are just going to be able to do as much damage as they want, throw down as many infested Terran as they want, and they'll never die. So TwoDrunk, he has the advantage in army, he has the advantage in drones, but he just can't afford to push out. If he pushes out, I'll just kill him, because this is his only building left, his only building. And if we take a look, we have more infestors making their way across the map. We have the Broodlords making their way out as well. He doesn't have all that much anti-air. He has his infestors and a couple of Hydralisks. He has 5 infestors, 11 Hydras against the 7 Broodlords and 5 Corruptors that I have. So while, again, he has a better army, it might not matter because here come a lot of infested Terran. They're going to try to focus down the hatchery. Are they going to get that hatchery down in time? Will the hatchery go? And the hatchery falls. The hatchery falls. It actually is canceled, but it doesn't matter. It's canceled with him not having any other building. I think he was just about to try to make an extractor right here. This drone. It didn't quite make it. This drone didn't quite make it. That hatchery falls, and somehow or another, in this base race, TwoDrunk does fall. A couple of mistakes he made for sure. He should have probably split off the majority of his army to come back and crush mine before we really got to this point. He should not have let go to a base race. When you have an army that is so superior than your opponent's, and he's not even necessarily that much more maneuverable than you are, you really shouldn't allow yourself to get into that base race situation. Sometimes, obviously, you can't avoid it. If you're a Protoss player and your opponent's going Ling Muta, base races are just kind of inevitable. But if you're a Zerg player and you have Roaches, you have Hydras, you have Infestors, and your opponent has Roaches, Hydras, and Infestors, there's absolutely no reason to ever allow a base race to occur. Or at least not one that ends up in you losing every single one of your hatcheries while he still has 2 hatcheries left. So TwoDrunk definitely may have made a couple of mistakes in the end, but a really strong game played by him. He had the advantage throughout much of the game. His early aggression just did tons of damage, paid many dividends throughout the match. But at the end of the day, well, really just sort of a combination of luck and strong play and base racing. Base racing's fun. But through all of that, I'm able to take the game. So that was definitely a fun, entertaining ZvZ that I thought I would bring to you today. Hope you enjoyed.